The day of 300 slide PowerPoint presentations is gone. Get onto Twitter for no other reason but for the discipline of taking whatever you want to say and reducing it to 140 characters. By the time you get into industry, you will have to convey it to the biggest boss in 140 characters. The guy doesn't have bandwidth. We are discussing important issues. I know I'm losing this man. His eyes are glazing over. What the hell do? I have to show him these graphs. I have to show him this analysis. I have to show him how intelligent I am. How many ways I have found out to, save money or do X, Y, Z. But the challenge is, how do I get these people to understand what I'm trying to say and do what I'm trying to get them to do without their eyes glazing over? If you can get into the ability to make something precise, take War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy, and try to make it into a 3-page essay, brilliant. You'll do very well in industry. And this is not a skill that you learn. This is not a skill that is anywhere in your syllabus. But sadly, this is what you need to do. Now try to explain the marketing plan for 23 countries to a guy in A for apple and B for bad. I tell you, it is going to turn you nuts. And that is an ability that you need as a marketer and as a future, careerist. We often don't know what he will like. So that we don't know what the consumer is going to like, so be flexible to change tack at the 12th hour. I'll give you an example. The Volkswagen Polo and the Vento have a feature whereby even after you've locked the vehicle, okay, and you discover, piche ka khidki khula hai, the rear window is open. If you press the close button for, I think 5 seconds or 8 seconds, the window still goes up. Most people didn't know of this. Even our sales guys were not aware of it. The product guys were aware, but they had conveniently forgotten because there's such a long list of features to say, they'd forgotten, it's a minor feature. Kya hota hai? Theek hai. Khidki khula, so you press the close button and the window goes up. Someone in engineering decided that they can save some 30 rupees or 35 rupees by removing that feature. It requires some sort of a capacitor which keeps the power there so that even after you shut it, there's enough power to take the window up. So someone deleted it. And then all hell broke loose. Customers said, how dare you remove this feature? So we said, we never thought you guys even knew this feature existed. How is it so important to you? They said, it's a very important feature. That's why we buy the Polo and the Vento. Can you tell us why you buy this? Why is this feature so important? होता है, दिल्ली में गाड़ी धूप में खड़ी रहती है. It is 48 degrees, and the car inside is baking. It's due to the greenhouse effect. It is like 70 degrees inside. मैं क्या करता हूँ? छाँव में खड़े रह के I press the down button, and all the windows go down, and that vents out the hot air. And that's why when I get into the car, it's already cooled, and when I switch on the AC, it's far more effective. We never knew this was a feature that he loved, and we had to bring it back. So you don't know what part of your feature he's going to like. There are certain people who enjoy Rakhi Sawant because she's hot or something. For all you know, those people who like Rakhi Sawant might like her for her intelligence. You don't know. She stood for elections and 13 or 14 people actually voted for her. Even he doesn't know what he'll like. The customer doesn't know what he'll like. Trust me, you can do enough number of researches, you don't know what he's going to like about a particular product. So you have to simplify choice for him. All the people, there are so many guys who come to me and say, I want to buy a Dell laptop for my kid. Can you help me? I heard you've done your education in electronics. Go ahead and choose it. Na? Then the website is crazy. So you have to go to the website and configure a computer. It's like trying to perform heart surgery on yourself for a person who doesn't know computers. And Dell has not figured it out. They are still in that B2B model. They're not realizing there is a B2C customer also who doesn't know what the hell a 2 GB SSD whatever is means. So simplify choice for him. They don't want Gyan. You can't explain to him SSD in a long page of tiny text and tell him that this is why you should go in for SSD. He will not want it. You need to sugarcoat it in an intelligent, engaging story. How many of you remember the ad? You guys must have been very small. PSPO nahi janta. Ye PSPO nahi janta. I don't know for the hell of it what is PSPO to this point, but I remember it कि Orient पंखे में PSPO होता है. It's a sugar-coated little pill that I hang on to. इसमें PSPO है. Or for that matter, Godrej refrigerators have a poof inside. Polyurethane foam, the stuff which goes into your sneaker soles. For God's sake, I mean, it's no rocket science. But there are a lot of customers who say, नहीं, Godrej के fridge में puff होता है, इसलिए जाना चाहिए. He doesn't know what the hell it is, but it is sugar-coated in an intelligent, engaging story. There is a reason why before human beings learned to read or write, before the printing press was invented, they passed down information from generation to generation as fireside stories. That's the most accessible way of getting through to another person, of connecting to him, of convincing him, and ensuring that he retains something. Tell a compelling story. Oh, last but the least, build a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door. 14th century. What it essentially says that your product, you can decide to put millions and millions on advertising, but it is ultimately your product which will decide your destiny. Whatever be your product, be it a car, be it a computer, be it something you eat, it's your product. This is something very interesting. I love this graph. It's called the Kano model. It's by a Japanese Dr. Kano. And I was very surprised to find that he's still alive and he's consulting for my company. Okay? He's doddering old, but this is something. Let me explain it to you. If you had to put customer satisfied on one side and customer dissatisfied on the other side, and on the x-axis you put product dysfunction and product functional. I'll explain what it is. It's Japanese English. Okay. I'm a car guy, so I'll come back to the car metaphor. If, for example, you are a customer in Chennai and I tell you, this car has got seat warmers, sir. It's got seat warmers. Would it make any difference? No. So you're indifferent to seat warmers. Okay? If I told you as a customer in Poland that it's got seat warmers, you would say, wow, fantastic. Okay, but in Chennai, you are indifferent. So there are certain features of a product which the customer couldn't care less about. So he's indifferent. There are some aspects which are one-dimensional. If I tell you, there are two cars, sir. This one is 100 horsepower and this is 120 horsepower. So you'll say, give me the one with 120 horsepower, provided the prices are the same. I'll say, okay, there's one car which gives you 16 kilometers per liter and here is another which gives 18 kilometers per liter. You'll say, give me the 18 kilometers per liter. I'll come back after a year and say, sir, this 18 kilometer per liter model we used to have, we've improved the fuel efficiency. It is now 22 kilometers per liter. And you'll go, wow. That is one dimension. The more I give it to you, the more you love it and there is no end to it. I can give you 50 kmpl and you will still come back to me, 55 देना चाहिए अब तेरी गाड़ी एवरेज अच्छी नहीं. So that is one dimension. Okay. There are some features which are hygiene. If I don't give you very good brakes in the car and the car takes like you're traveling at 60 and it takes like 50 meters to come to a halt, you'll come out and kill me. If you are alive. I improve the brakes. So it stops at 40 meters. You'll say, yeah, Hyundai stops at 30 or 20 or whatever. Your brakes are not good. So I'll improve. Beyond a point of time, I'll remove the brakes from a Porsche, carbon, ceramic and God knows what all space age material and the damn thing stops on a dime. Would you pay extra for it? You'll say, nahi yaar, gaadi rukni chahiye in a reasonable distance. I don't want it to stop on a dime. For all you know, the guy in the rickshaw behind me will bang in inside. So, hygiene. Beyond a point, you will not get any thrill. So your satisfaction level will reach a certain level and it will stop. Air conditioning. I've given you good air conditioning, better air conditioning, such fantastic air conditioning that icicles form on the vent. Would you pay extra for it? You say, no, yaar, mere ko thanda karne ka, mere ko freeze nahi karne ka. So beyond a point, you don't want extra features. These are the features which are called hygiene. Then come the delighters. Suppose in a small car I give you a sunroof. Would love it. If I give you a model of Nano where the roof folds and goes into the boot, You would absolutely get thrilled. Wow! The days when I want to go out and the weather is good, I press this button and like a Mercedes SLK, the roof folds and goes into the boot. This is a car, yaar. At 2.5 lakhs, this is brilliant. So that's Delighter. There was this car that we launched in Volkswagen which used to park itself. You go by a parking spot, you press a button, it will tell you whether the parking spot is right or not. Take your hands off the steering and she will park herself. That's a Delighter. As long as I don't charge 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs extra for it, that's a Delighter. So, the problem is, what used to be a Delighter earlier on has become hygiene. So, stuff moves from here to here. Remember when our cars didn't have power steerings? Remember when our cars didn't have air conditioning? Uske paas air condition wali gaadi hai. Those days are gone because those Delighters, those air conditioning and power steering has become hygiene. Now, my cheapest car doesn't have a power steering and people didn't buy it. The moment I started giving power steering in the Nano Twist is doing very well. So, Delighters move to hygiene. So, you have to, as a product guy, constantly evolve new Delighters, find out new ways to excite the customer. So, I have to get you interested in selling off your perfectly good 4-year-old car and buy a new one from you. So, which is why the search for Delighters is always on. The search with one-dimensional is always on. And very interesting, you will find that the Japanese concentrate on the one-dimensionals. The Germans concentrate on the Delighters. The Indians are right now stuck with still the hygienes. Cannibalize your most successful products or your competitors will do for you. You've got a hit product, well, bloody start sweating. Because you're this big target out there for everybody else. So either you cannibalize it or someone else is going to do for it. I tried it with the Polo, still failed. I'm still trying. So, as a competitor, I'm always looking at there in that segment, the car to beat is the Swift. How do I do? And that's what everybody is doing. So Maruti better be thinking on what is their plan to make the bestseller obsolete. Anticipate, embrace change, learn to turn on a dime. This cannot be emphasized enough. This has become a home truth. The cheese moves. What can I say? Celebrate eccentricity. Those customers who come to you and say, Sujan, I need a car. There was actually a guy who said that I need a power socket on the outside of my Land Cruiser. Those days I was with Toyota. This customer said, I need a power socket outside my Land Cruiser. I said, why do you need a power socket outside your Land Cruiser? He says, I go camping, I want to fit audio system and listen to music. I couldn't satisfy his request, but his request was perfectly valid. Perhaps that is the source of the next Delighter, a power source on the outside of the vehicle which you can use to run various applications. I mean, it can be a music system, it can be a fan for a person who's going camping, I don't know what. So the peculiar need of your customers are your window for differentiation. Before you say no, figure out how to say yes. One of my favorite hotel is the Ritz-Carlton. The first time I went to Ritz, like typically hotels and other service industry do, when I was checking out, they gave me a feedback form. Sir, could you fill up the feedback? I said, oh no, another feedback form. I still humor them because I'm a marketer and I tell thousands of people to fill up stupid forms. So I said, karma, I have to do it too. So I filled up the form. They said, what can we do to make your stay even more pleasant? I said, great, let me ram them. I said, two things. I am crazy for tea or coffee, so wherever I go in a room, I need a tea or coffee. It's really standard to have a kettle and 2 bags of Tetley or whatever, but in Europe it's not so standard. You've got to ask for it or you have to upgrade yourself to executive room to get a pot of which gives you tea or coffee. So I said, I'd like to have a tea or coffee maker in the room preferably. Second thing is, after I come back from work, I would like to listen to some music. So those were the days of iPods. I said, if some music, if at least a FM radio or something is there, it would help, Now, whenever I am checking into the Ritz-Carlton, they give me a sweet smile. Mr. Roy, your room is being readied. And when I go to the room, there is an espresso machine, which makes the most exquisite coffee in the world. And there is an iPod dock for me, so that I can listen to music with an FM thing. So they actually keep it there somewhere in the recesses of their, cellars or whatever. that Mr. Roy will come along, or someone like Mr. Roy will come along, and we'll keep a coffee maker for him, and we'll keep a music machine for him. That is what makes me loyal to Ritz-Carlton. If I have the choice of a zillion other hotels, I know this guy is going to treat me like an individual, and not one more guest to him. No more plastic smiles. He's going to take that little effort to customize the room for me, and that is what I love about the Ritz. Make your crankiest customers your best friends. इस दुनिया में there is no marketer who's not faced a cranky customer. Take it as an opportunity. If you can take that guy who's absolutely upset with you, who's threatening to take you to court, who's threatening to send you Salim Bhai after you to break your knees, if you can make him your friend, chances are he will be an infinite source of delighters to you. He'll become your consultant for free. I've had 2 or 3 customers like this whose Mahindra Scorpios gave them phenomenal problems. And they are my Facebook friends to this day after I have changed 3 companies. And these guys call me up. Whenever they think about a car or think of a new idea or see something great, they call me up and they tell me. They've become individual consultants. They know what are the things they would like to see in a car and they give me ideas. They would like to see from a dealership and they give me ideas. If you can get this cranky guy to become your friend, Facebook friend especially, then he will become a source of ideas which can get you kudos from your boss. Quantum upshift, how a customer lives his life. Think how the iPod changed interfaces. Interfaces all across the world went into touch. Very interestingly, the other day I saw the toddler of a niece that I have. She's so used to touch screen, she went up to the LED TV and tried doing this. Their generation is not able to understand that a screen you can't do this too. That is the extent to which interfaces have changed. And within the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to be, you can literally call your TV or car or whatever Ram Singh Chai Banao types. You'll be able to talk to them and they will do whatever they are. The touching will also go away, the gestures will go away. You can speak to them in natural English because you do it with Google now, and it doesn't take too much money to just take that chip or whatever it is and put it into every device. Garam pani chalu karo, hot water starts. Mixi speed 3 starts, and that's going to happen. I'm not saying that all of us have to be consumer good engineers, but if we can find in our area how we can change the life of the customer, how we can make it simpler, how we can make it more meaningful, I think as marketers we would have done our jobs. But treasure the baby steps. The Japanese whole industry is into Kaizen. They don't do earth-shattering discoveries. They take everything and they'll, shave off 1 gram here, 1 gram there, and they will improve this thing slightly, and that's how they do it. If you look into a Toyota, just look at the bolts that they have. The bolts are shaven from inside, they're scooped out. The idea being that every bolt that you scoop out, you save about 1.5 grams. I used to have the exact figure in my head. And you're going to use 1,000 bolts in the car, so the weight goes down by so much. And it doesn't make any difference in the utility of the bolt. It still opens and shuts the whatever it's supposed to hold together exactly the way it is supposed to. And that is what the baby steps give you. But you have to be able to measure it. Because the biggest enemies that a marketer has are the bean counters, the finance guys. These are the guys who are going to make your life miserable, who are going to question every money. They actually call you the singing, dancing guys. They call you the guys who make pretty pictures. They have all these derisive names for you. We just call them bean counters and dismiss them. So, unfortunately, much of your life is going to be gummed up by these bean counters, so you better have some numbers for these jokers. 3 things that I would like to emphasize: space, quality, reputation. Yes, not very fashionable to talk about quality, reputation today, but I'm going to talk about it. You know the 4 P's of marketing? Okay, done, dusted, everybody is there, everybody is doing all that. Pace. How fast are you moving? Does your ad campaign take 15 days to take off, or does it take 15 hours? Does your product takes 15 years to come out? Or are you able to turn around in 15 months and react to a competitor's product? Trust me, if you can get into pace, you can stay ahead of a lot of your competitors. But unfortunately, pace is hell on personal life. At 3 o'clock in the night, you're going to be standing at the printers getting your brochures out. Reputations open doors that you never even existed. You knew that they existed. Reputation, whether of your brand, whether of your product, or whether of your personal reputation. Guard it with your life, because it means your life. I've seen what a difference being a Tata person makes. People implicitly believe that a Tata guy will not do any wrong. There is a certain standard that we have to live up to. I was explaining to Mr. Bose, I don't see him there. So this morning when we were coming from the airport, I was discussing how the Jaguar Land Rover takeover happened with Tata Motors. What happened is when the various suitors approached Ford to take over Jaguar Land Rover, there was Mahindra, there was Tata, there were half a dozen other companies, investment bankers, etc. What turned around the deal for Tata Motors was the fact that the employees union of Chorus spoke to the employees union of Jaguar Land Rover and said, these guys are good. They're not going to, shaft you. They're not going to throw you out overnight. They're not going to cut your pay. They're not going to ask you to do things which are wrong, implicitly wrong. Without knowing that the Chorus union was talking to the Jaguar Land Rover guys, parallelly the Tetley union called up and said, guys, you know what? You're getting a good deal. You need to go with Tata. And I remember in BBC they were showing where the Jaguar Land Rover union leader came on television and he said, I think we would prefer Tata because we've heard from other Tata companies and they said that these guys are really good. And I was reading Alan Mulally, who was the Ford chief at that point of time, and there was a small paragraph on how he went about selling JLR to Tata. And he said that actually, you know what, the unions pressurized us to choose Tata. So the people who actually you would think would not have a say on it actually pushed the case of Tata Motors pick up Jaguar Land Rovers. And that is the power of reputation. That's a very recent example of what reputation can do for you. Quality, I'm not talking about the mathematical quality that this should be this way and that should be that way. What I'm talking about is the relationship of quality to cost. If you are able to give more to the customer and slowly take the customer higher in the order of consumption, to take him higher plane in terms of quality to whatever product you're offering, you take him to the next level, Figure out how to move this customer to spend 2 rupees more from you and I'll give you something very good. Just see. Trust me. And you take him and offer him such a fantastic product. He says, next time he comes and says, I want that. You remember that 12 rupee thing that you're giving me? I want that. And then figure out how to manufacture it for 10 rupees. Brilliant. 2 rupees in your pocket extra. Moreover, no customer loves a brand more than when he leaves every touch point feeling good about himself. Every touch point, whether he comes to a store, whether he comes to call center, wherever he goes, this guy feels good about himself. I was in Oman, I was looking after marketing and product for Lexus. This was a time when BMW, Mercedes and Audi were the de facto. People used to actually tell me that, listen, Sujan, I love your product, I know you have got a better product, but if I don't buy an S-Class, my neighbors will think I'm poor. What we started doing is we realized in an Arabic country they're crazy about coffee. We started doing something very simple. We started offering the best coffee in town. You walk into a Lexus showroom and the aroma of coffee just floors you. And we trained the guys who would serve coffee that if you ever take coffee from him, you say, I want my coffee, 1 spoon of sugar and that guy is going to remember it forever. So the next time you come in, sir, your usual coffee, 1 spoon of sugar. Wow, this guy remembers. And we did that little thing. And the coffee was so good, there were guys who would be going around and say, wait a minute, I need to stop for a coffee. So this guy would drive in. I've actually seen it. He would drive in, stop there, park his car, park his S-Class, come into the showroom, and he'll say, hi, I just came in for a cup of coffee. I said, sure. And he has this cup of coffee and he asks, so what are the new models that you're bringing in? And a guy who owns an S-Class, he can afford half a dozen more, These guys have so much money, you can't believe it. So, just because I had offered him a cup of coffee and he was feeling good about it and this caffeine is going through his blood, he'll say, by the way, bande ko bhej dena. Send across your chap, I'll have a look at it. And boom, I've sold him a 55 lakh car. One cup of coffee. That is the power, kids know it. पापा जब लंच करके ना एकदम खुश रहेंगे, उसके बाद जाके पूछेंगे पापा मेरे को साइकिल खरीद के दोगे कि नहीं. I love it when I travel by Lufthansa or Swiss Air because they make me feel good at every point of time. They are, my friends forget my birthday, they never forget my birthday, and no brand ever sends me something. These guys actually send me a handwritten letter. I know someone is paid to write that letter, but what the hell? They send me a handwritten letter and send me a little silver bookmark. Doesn't cost anything, but they remember me and they treat me well. I feel so good on my birthday. Of all the brands that I have this many loyalty cards, and only Lufthansa remembers my birthday without fail, sends me a handwritten card and sends me a little tiny token gift. Makes me feel good. Watch every pound you spend and show even more care for the pennies. You would have heard penny wise pound foolish. People say always take care of the pounds, but all the pennies are important too. Because there are recurring expenses that you tend to make, which might not be adding bang for the buck, which you need to care for. All those guys who carry 2 phones, you really need to. I know it costs about 675 bucks a month. There, it doesn't matter. Count how much it matters over 12 months, how much it builds up to over 3 years. So watch the pennies, because already the business atmosphere is unforgiving as far as costs are concerned. Expense accounts, you can forget it. Flying business class, maybe my generation is going to be the last. All of you guys are going to get stuck in economy. So 5-star hotels and cigars, of course, are now banned. So the good life is getting over, my friends. You were born too late. So all businesses have had to economize. And if you can help your company economize, you're much more valuable to the company. So of all the words of mice and men, the saddest are these: your budget has been cut. So get used to having your budget cut all the time. I used to have a team of 60 people. We are down to 40 now. The management will be happier if I reduce it even further. Thankfully, I didn't have to ask anybody to leave. It happened to natural attrition. Some women got married, some men wanted more money, and so they found someone who would pay more. But I'm having to do the same job that I did with 60 people, much more with 40 people. Probably going ahead, I'll have to do it with 20 people. So all these guys, they have families, they're going later home, they're working on weekends. I don't get to talk to many more colleges like I would love to. This one almost didn't happen because I had to go to Pune. Almost, I wriggled out of it. So, whether it is in personal life or whether it is in company life, learn how to save money. That's the direction. When times are bad, keep your friends closer, your competitors closer. I need to know what my competitors are doing. I got a call from someone in Honda that they are working on something, and I searched and I found out they are going to do something which is very scary to a particular segment of mine. I better do something about it. Listen keenly to clients, benchmark. And those of you who have wives and girlfriends would know, you'd never listen. This is a common refrain which is told to us men. But figure out how to be able to listen. That's a skill which is going to stand you in good stead. Keep your mouth shut and listen when someone is talking. Listen to the undercurrents, listen to what this person is trying to tell you and is not able to tell you, and it's going to stand you in very good stead. And learn to ask why. People might say, I think I'll be considered stupid. Learn to say why. So so why? And get to the root of the matter. Kids have this unique ability because they don't care a damn what you think of them. Regain that ability to ask why. Cut costs. If cutting costs is not keeping you awake, you're asleep. Delivering luxury to a client does not mean that you and your team enjoy the luxury. Deliver luxury, live frugal. Sweat the small stuff tough, do the tedious, uncomfortable stuff well, because often the glamorous stuff gets precedence. I'm reminded of an epic meeting which one of my competitors, Maruti, had. All the competition was coming in. The international competition was coming in, and this was a dealer meet at Malta. And one of my personal heroes, Jagdish Khattar, was on the stage and he was surrounded by dealers. Everybody was saying, what are we going to do? Maruti is going to be torn apart. You know, competition has got better styling, they've got more powerful engines, they've got da 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 da. So Jagdish Khattar said, hold on. He went up to the blackboard and started writing all the stuff what is important in a car. So good air conditioning, powerful engines, fuel efficiency, da 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 da, good service, cheap spare parts, availability. So he wrote everything, he grouped some things, and ultimately it came down to 72 things. He then asked, what are the things do you think the competition is good at? So they said styling, so he cut out styling. They said engine power, so he cut out engine power. Then they said features, he cut out the features. What was left out of the list of 72 was about 65, 68 stuff. And he said, so 4 or 5 things they are good at. Can we be good at the 68 stuff which is remaining on the board? And that is where Maruti decided to offer the best service, the cheapest spares, best availability in terms of, the showrooms, and to build this legendary brand which I have tried to take down with 3 manufacturers of 3 different nationalities, but I haven't been able to take it down. And when your competitor stands on a stage and accepts that your strategy is bloody brilliant, then it is bloody brilliant. 50% market share in a market where there are 30 odd competitors is no joke, and maintaining it year after year after year. Quality top, customer service tops for year after year, and Toyota is somewhere number 5th or number 6th, Honda is number 2nd or number 3rd, and unheard of company called Suzuki, which in Japan you will be hard put to find a Suzuki showroom. You go into Europe, the most sad showroom will be Suzuki. Even the Tata showrooms are better than Suzuki showrooms. And these guys rule in India. That's because they did the small stuff very, very well. And it also matters in your personal life. To all of those guys who say, I won't shave today, I don't think anybody will notice. It is shaving every morning, guys. It is being there on time every morning. It is being prepared for all your meetings every morning. No one will notice it, but over a lifetime, that's going to give you a brilliant advantage. The first day in my career, I was ahead of the janitors. I was in the office before the janitors came in. To this day, I am there before the janitors come. It doesn't matter that I left office at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Staying back late is a matter of dedication. Coming on time in the morning is a matter of discipline. They are 2 unrelated matters. Don't confuse them. And if anybody tells you that, tell them. Tell this thing. One is dedication, other is discipline. Don't mix up discipline with dedication. When you cut costs, never cut costs on quality people. Whenever you have a team, and you will have a team, and inshallah, I hope you have a team fast. Reward the best, celebrate the best, recognize the best. Create a work culture and environment that just rocks. People should want to come and work with you. Always the team over individuals. If someone, quit and went to a guy who offered him more money and wants to come back, welcome him back. Anybody and everybody who's ever been part of my team, I'm their best friend for life. They can call me at any moment of day or night. They can tell me that I've killed someone, I need your help to hide the body, and I'll help them. So, when someone leaves and I have to fill a vacancy, I know where to find them. I can give a call to a guy and say, I need you on my team, and I need you yesterday, and the guy signs up. Always respect the team. Pay doesn't have to be the best, it should be among the best. If you've got the other little stuff handled, pay, you can compromise a bit and still get away with it. But hire the best, retain the best. And always choose for attitude. Knowledge and skills can be acquired. Attitude is something that guy is got genetically imbibed in him. Changing the attitude is very difficult. जो चोर है वो चोर रहेगा. A leopard doesn't change its spots very easily. Similarly, on the positive side, the guy who's positive, who's charged, who's go-getter, come hell or high water, this guy will remain enthused. He will remain charged. The guy who respects the janitors, who respects the lowest level guys and treats them properly is going to do that come what may. And the guy who says chuchu or insults a person They don't change. Zig when the world zags. It's very, very comforting to take the path which everybody else is taking. All my competitors are coming up with XYZ segment cars. We should have to. Everybody is going to China. What is our China policy? Dude, you don't want to go to China. Everybody's in China. There is so much percentage of overcapacity. The Chinese customer is only buying Bentleys, Audis or whatever. He does not want any more value priced cars. Do you really want to go to China? No, but everybody's going to China. Why aren't we going to China? Don't. Figure out where the next China is. Maybe it's Algeria, maybe it's Indonesia. Take the path less traveled by. Because when Suzuki was investing in India, India was not the place to invest in. Volkswagen looked at it and said, the market doesn't look good. Brazil is better. And right now Suzuki leads and Volkswagen can take over Suzuki, but they can't take over this market, they can't take over this customer. The world judges you by past record, whereas you judge yourself on capability. Never make the mistake. I think I'm CEO material, but people see me as GM material. I have to earn that. I have to move there. Only there. And for that you have to know what you're good at and stick to doing that. One of the methods of success, whether it's in marketing or in personal life, is we spend too much time trying to get good at what we don't know. Whereas what we need to do is, I am really good about this, I am really enthusiastic about this, let me try to be good at that. If you can't sing well, you will take singing classes. If you are not good at econometrics, you will try to fix it out. Wait a minute, I don't need to be the best guy at econometrics, I am very good at creatives. I am extremely creative, or I am very good at operations research, or I really have strengths as a company in logistics. Of all things, I have strength in logistics, I can get things to other places very fast. Let me focus on my strengths rather than try to address my weaknesses. You're only as good as your last big hit. And that is what sustains you, that's what gives you confidence. But it is okay to have a few lemons from time to time. You can't have all successes. Apple didn't have all successes. Have you ever heard of the Apple Newton? It sunk without trace. It was the first tablet which was done by Apple. Didn't do well. So you have to fail at some things. If you aren't failing, you're not trying hard enough. You're not trying new things. You're trying to do things which you're just doing and doing and doing. Yes, I will play only in this game because I know how to play this game. So when did you last fall flat? It's very necessary to fail because that is when you know that you're stretching your abilities. And finally, do what you love what you do. Never ever do it for money alone. Because my generation, we took until 40 to get Gadi, Bangla, bank balance. Your generation will achieve it at the age of 30, 35. What will you do for the rest of your life? Your life expectancies are also going off. My generation will pop off at 70, you guys will live till 90. What are you going to do? You're going to chase money till you're 90? Find something that really gives you pleasure and chase that.
Hello sir, my name is Hari Kishan. With respect to internationalization, as in when Tata is going for global with respect to passenger car segments, can you just explain how Tata Motors will look into different aspects with respect to market, what kind of products it looks into, and the other related things?
Firstly, a friend of mine came and asked me, sit down. A friend of mine asked me, Sujan, you look after product for exports, can you give me an export quality Vista? Well, my friends, there is no such thing as an export quality Vista. The cars that are sold in India are the ones which go to Europe too. So, we are very clear, we will not make vehicles currently tailored for any other market other than India. We have the Indian cars and we will find markets where such products fit in very well. And we will offer these products to those markets, and there are quite a few of them. So that is essentially our strategy.
Sir, continuing with the strategy part of it, in some of the countries, Tata is looking for the alliance partners, and in some countries it's looking for partners, proponents, and some countries it's about the acquiring. So how do you decide on what kind of strategy you should follow in different countries?
Often we don't have to decide, it is decided for us. For example, the Chinese government mandates that you have to have a local partner. So, though Tata brand is not present there, Jaguar Land Rover is present and we are working with our partners sharing there. Okay, for example, a market like Egypt, In Egypt, you would like to put up an assembly operation because the taxes are prohibitive. You can't sell cars, ready-built cars. So once you have to set up a factory in Egypt, there's already capacity there. So you need to look around, see who's got an empty factory, and just pick that up instead of setting up a factory right from scratch. So that is how it is decided. Obviously, we are value priced cars. We are not very expensive cars, and for us, cost cutting is very important. To squeeze the last penny out of the business model and offer it to the customer is what gives us our business. So we look at the most cost effective model, and that's how it is done. Mass customization, it's fashionable to say, but in reality, mass customization is not happening. If you see the guys who are most successful car manufacturers in the world, the Volkswagen Group, of course, Toyota sells more than them still. What they do essentially is, I don't know how many of you realize that they're selling the same wine in 3 different bottles. One is called Audi, other is called Skoda, third is called Volkswagen. The engines are the same, the platforms are the same, the audio systems are the same, the steerings are the same, the seats are the same. You burn a hole in your Audi seat and say, I've dropped a cigarette on this and I need to get it replaced. The guy will charge you 30,000 rupees for a seat. The same part number is available in Volkswagen for 20,000, in Skoda for 12,000. Just imagine. And that is what mass customization is about. What they're essentially doing is whatever is visible to the customer gets changed from an Audi to a Skoda to a whatever, Whatever is not visible to a customer, and a lot of the car is not visible to the customer, that's common. And that's how they get benefits of scale, and that's how they are so successful. They are a cash churner. What used to happen is Tata Motors was an engineering company. If you remember the original name, Tata Engineering and Locomotive. So we are an engineering company. We had proud engineers, and engineers have a tremendous ego. If she's designing the front seat and I'm designing the rear seat, I will not look at her design and say I can do better than her. Though it's going into the same car, our previous cars, the headrest used to be different. So because she designed that headrest, I won't take the headrest from her. I will design a different headrest and say, "Mera headrest dekho kitna comfortable hai." As a result of which, every car had different front headrests and rear headrests. When you start standardization, when you start using the same part again and again in different cars, you start reaping the benefits. One. Second thing, like other manufacturers, we are also using the same platform technique. Slowly you will see all Tata Motors vehicles, whatever are the unseen parts are going to become common. What are the seen parts, that's the top hat as it's called, the upper ka shell, is going to have a different shape. So that is there. Third thing is, with Jaguar Land Rover in our fold, there are certain things which we can commonize there too. And that's how it's going to help us.
Good evening, sir. I'm Zoe Brady. Sir, you talked about a constant tussle between the finance guy and the marketing guys. And then you talked about that in Lexus you were able to increase your sales because of the coffee that you introduced in your showrooms. So how quantitatively to measure that success because of that extra step that you take when you're keeping books and tell it to the company? How can that be done?
Sadly, in many times in your career, you're going to meet up with intangibles which you simply can't put numbers to. I used to say, okay, the fascia lighting is gone. We need to change the fascia lighting. And my boss used to say, how many extra cars are you going to sell if I change the fascia? Yeah, bus karna yaar. What the hell? How am I supposed to, quantify that? My boss, Mr. Rajesh Jejurikar of Mahindra's, he would never let me do billboards. I would love to do billboards. These huge, beautiful billboards in Bandra. Arey, meri Scorpio wahan pe dikhegi. He wouldn't let me do Scorpio billboards. He would say, how many eyeballs are you going to capture? Can you tell me how many people are going to see your ad? Baith ke car ginu. So there are going to be instances like if I know how much I had to fight to get that coffee idea through. It helped that the guy who was approving was a South Indian and loved his coffee, and probably that's why he approved it, that he would get a good cup of coffee too. But trust me, I couldn't have crunched the numbers on those. But it worked. Eventually, after it works, you don't need to prove it. But somehow you have to go out on a limb with certain ideas, and that's the best I can answer, I guess.
You mentioned that the company has invested for a very long time on its legacy products, but at the same time, during the last decade, the company has strengthened its design capabilities. It established a design center in University of Warwick, and has come up with two new products, Volt and Zest, in the Indian market. It also showed few new concepts such as Pixel and Nexon in the auto show this year.
Right.
So how would the marketing plan be influenced by these new designs? Because I guess it started from the design, it has come up to the production stage, and now it's up to the marketing really to transform the image.
Right. Earlier on, our products were boring to say the least. They were not fun. They were uncle sort of products. Right now, if you go in and do a search on YouTube for Pixel or Megapixel or Nexon, you will see really cool people and cool locations in Milan and cool cars. So we are this uncle who's removed his mustache and dyed his hair. And if you've seen what was that Shah Rukh Khan movie, so Punjab Power guy becomes trendy. So we've suddenly got back our mojo. So from this slightly fuddy-duddy, respectable old company, which was a boring place to work in and boring products, we've suddenly realized that, wait a minute, we are a Fortune 500 company and we need to behave like one. Which is why there is a tremendous level of assertiveness. We are participating in global motor shows. My stall in Geneva Motor Show was next to Style Bertone. There was Pagani. There was who else? Pininfarina, so the best designer. Those of you who are crazy about cars would realize, like Pininfarina is the guy who designed stall ke bagal mein Tata Motors ka stall, and I had 1/100th of their budgets. Yet, if you go and check out the photographs, there's no poverty showing. We did a classy job, and that is what the Indian ingenuity comes at. That I can compete with the best globally on their turf, on their terms, and compete as peers. The fact that the Nexon received massive positive reviews, the Megapixel received massive positive reviews, shows that there's a different outlook, there's a different thinking in the company. We were these guys who were like the guys who were from middle India and not very classy. Suddenly we have decided that the world is our playground and we are going to match up. And that's what's changed.
So how to reduce the time to market the product?
One is quite clearly, if you don't reinvent the headrest every time, you're going to save money. If you keep the things which are absolutely okay not to change, do you ever notice whether the stock which turns the wipers on and off, has it been changed or not? As long as it works, as long as it's got a nice click, maybe I don't need to change that. I can keep the same thing as the Indica, which is a very cost-effective wiper switch. And if it breaks off sometime, you go to replace it and someone says only 20 bucks, you say wow. So maybe these are the things that I don't need to change. The other thing is, if I have the same platform, and that is exactly what I'm doing, is I'm taking the basic underpinnings of the Vista, which I've used in the Volt and Zest, also in the Nexon. So there is a huge amount of stuff underneath, which I don't need to invent at all. I just need to figure out how to put in the top hat. Many of you would have looked at the EcoSport and said, wait a minute, this actually is a hatch. Piche tire dal diya, but it's actually a hatch, If you look at it factually, it's slightly taller. I mean, if you were in the mood, you took a Wagoner and cropped out the fenders and put in big wheels and put a tire behind it, it will look like the EcoSport. So that's all that we have to do essentially. A little more stylish, a little more metal, and there you are. Having said that, it sounds easy, but actually executing is tough. So getting the product timelines shorter is keeping me awake at nights. Let's see if we can figure it out.